This is the PIXINSIGHT process tutorial for the automatic background extractor. You can find it in Process, Background Modelization, Automatic Background Extractor. So as you can see here, there are two processes which do the background modelization: the automatic background extractor and the dynamic background extraction. They both do in principle the same. They remove any light pollution, vignetting, any other gradient from the background that will make the background uneven. This is usually one of the first tasks you do with a picture. So this is a picture I took recently of the Western Veil Nebula. It's unstretched, it's linear. If you look at it with the screen transfer function and we go to hyperstretch, you can easily see that actually over here it's brighter than here. So there is some kind of a gradient, some kind of light pollution, which I have in this region, which slowly fades over here. Otherwise, there is not much light pollution within this picture. But before I show you how to use it, there is obviously the question, should you use the automatic background extractor or should you use the dynamic background extraction? And it's as always in PIXINSIGHT and also as most of the time in life. The more you put into something, the more you get out of it. Which means the dynamic background extraction requires a lot of effort. And you really have to understand it and make the right decisions. But the result will be, in most cases, a lot better than with the automatic background extractor. That said, a stretch with a screen transfer function as well as the automatic background extractor, they have very well their purpose. And that's on one side if you want to get very quick and dirty through a workflow simply to get to a first version of the picture that you see how it could look like before you then actually do a more extensive workflow. And on the other side, I think it's a perfect process to start into PIXINSIGHT. It's so easy, and with processes like this, you can really show that PIXINSIGHT is not that difficult, that it absolutely can accommodate also the needs of beginners. So as you can see, it's still quite a lot of things which you can actually change in here. And should you do that? Absolutely not. First of all, I actually looked into it, what they do and what PIXINSIGHT itself recommends. And most of the time they clearly state that if you go above or below these settings, most likely the outcome will be suboptimal. But for me, there is a much bigger argument why you should not change it. You see, the purpose of this process is that it's easy, that it's automatic. As soon as you would start to change this, this would absolutely defy the purpose of this process. If you want to do manual things, if you want to make decisions, then use the dynamic background extractor. And there you can modify a lot of different settings so to get to the best result possible. But if you want to use this one, the only area where you should make some changes is the bottom one. So what do we have here? First of all, the correction. You can state subtraction or division. What's the difference? A lot of people just say, well, for me, this or that works better, or first I use this. But what's the background? Division you usually select when you want to find, for example, vignetting. So usually some artifacts which have their background in the equipment. While subtraction you use to get rid of light pollution. From that point, in this picture here, all I have is some light pollution. The flats actually got rid of all of my vignetting and other equipment issues. So I choose subtraction. The other thing you can actually select if you want to, you can discard the background model. I wouldn't do that. It's always good to see what actually the tool removes. And you can state that you want to replace the target image instead of creating a new one. Again, I wouldn't do that because it's easier if you do not like the result to get rid of the new one and just start over than to have to undo the whole thing. So I would leave everything also here exactly as it is. The only decision you have to make is between subtraction and division. And once you have done that, just throw the triangle on there and it's done. We get two pictures. One is the background model. And you see now nicely how it actually removed exactly as I thought here this gradient. And how does my newly made picture, which has this ABE abbreviation in it, how does it look now? So like that. You see, that's also the advantage. If you do not select here, you can now actually compare the pictures, and you see it's much more uniform now. If I hyperstretch it, you also see that this side and this side now looks much more similar. So we have about the same white cast all over the whole picture, so that's nice. And I think that's also something to state. In easy cases like that, with no vignetting and only slight light pollution, there I do not believe that the dynamic background extraction could have made a huge difference. Probably it's also within this range. So in such situation, you could actually discuss if it really makes sense to go through a dynamic background extraction, or if you want to just go the easy route. So that was it already, short and sweet. I hope it was helpful to you. If it was, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time, and clear skies.